Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you, Editor-in-Chief Steve Lindy. Steve, the Jerusalem Post has done Israel a great service by organizing this conference for the fourth time, I think. Distinguished guests, I want to tell you about Sarah Tchia Littman, a 20-year-old girl. Sarah was supposed to get married yesterday, but last Friday, a terrorist opened fire on the car in which her father, Rabbi Yaakov, and brother Netanel were driving to Shabbat Chatan, a traditional Jewish ceremony on the Saturday before a wedding. Yaakov and Netanel were murdered. Sarah's wedding was postponed. A celebration gave way to a funeral. She cried, "Who will walk me down the aisle?" A few hours later, headlines the world over centered on the horrific attack in Paris. Little attention was paid to the horrible attack in Otniel near Hebron and to the fact that Palestinian Red Crescent ambulance did not stop to offer help. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the Foreign Ministry to file a compliance with the International Committee of Red Cross. Sadly, 67 years after independence, we still must fight for our existence. The Israeli poet Chaim Hefer once wrote, "Only those who lost their finest friends could ever understand us." We, having lost so many our sons and daughters, understand the pain and sorrow of France, our cherished allies. The France ambassador Patrick Mazanev will be speaking shortly. The Israeli public is mourning with our French brothers and sisters. Our citizens have spontaneously taken to the street to express solidarity. Ambassador, we the Israeli feel your pain. Our condolences to the families who lost their loved ones. I wish the wounded a quick recovery. President François Hollande declared, "It is an act of war that was committed by a terrorist army, a jihadist army, Daesh, against France." He said, "France is strong." Ambassador, everyone in this room and everyone in our government know President Hollande is right. France is strong and will prevail. Esteemed guests, President Hollande's statement resonates in Jerusalem. I would like to add to it. The war is not limited to France. That's not a local conflict, but a global war. The attacks in Paris are just latest episode in the sequences of terror attacks stretching from Beersheba, Kiryat Arba, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, in which dark forces threaten civilization. Those attacks are motivated by one hatred seeking to hurt those who believe to pray differently. Christians, Muslims, Jews, and other believers or non-believers, they are all fire target to radical Islamists. Esteemed guests, there are two axes to terrorism in the Middle East. The first is the radical Islamists of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The second is the Iran and its proxies, the Hezbollah in Lebanon, Assad regime in Syria, and the Hamas is unique because it's a Sunni terror organization who get money from Iran. Iran remains a major destabilizing force. Though it won a new appearance of respectability, its nuclear ambitions are hardly tamed. Through the Iranian rules in Syria, Bashar al-Assad could maintain a war against its own people that has cost hundreds of thousands of lives and displaced millions. Some in the international community say that Iran is not the problem but the solution, They argue that Iran may contribute to the fighting against ISIS. But that confused opinion disregards the fact that Iran is the world's biggest funder of terrorism. Though ISIS is Sunni, Shia terrorism may be just determinantal. So it is unfortunate that some in the international community are deceived by Iran President Hassan Rouhani's soft tone. The removal of the embargo on Iranian following the recent deal is likely to spark an arms race in the Middle East, first of conventional weapons, and after 10 years, when the deal expires, of unconventional weapons. I call all of you to realize that Israel is the only source of stability in the Middle East. Now it is time to recalibrate national and international doctrine of face reality. Radical Islamists are united against morality, progress, and democracy. Not just against Israel, but against every nation represented here today. They wage a war on our values. So the order of the day is to unite in our commitment not to let terrorism win. Terrorism will not determine our destiny. It will not deprive us of freedom, security, and hope. Esteemed guest, but sometimes the international community perceives Israel as the problem. A recent regrettable example is the European Union decision to label products made in Israeli settlements. I'm sure Prime Minister Netanyahu talked about it before, but I want to emphasize something. Last year, the export to the European Union totaled $18.9 billion. Next year, despite the labeling, we will export more. Our economy is strong, but the policy's symbolic significance is troubling. The European Union does not designate other countries the same way. Israel is singled out. This decision shames the European Union. It is in Israel's interest, as well as in the interest of its allies, certainly in the interest of the European Union, to stabilize the Middle East. The European Union should seek a positive, constructive role, rather than get distracted but unhelpful symbolic measures that gain only energy to terror. We have ample evidence that Israel is a victim of double standard. I'll just give you an example. Last month, one example out of many. Last month, the BBC reported Palestinian shot dead after Jerusalem attack killed 2. Would you know from this headline that the Palestinian was actually a terrorist who shot by Israeli police after he murdered 2 civilians? We respect the role of the media, but deeply regret the biased reporting. This is unjust. Another example is the many NGOs which operate in Israel, but funded by other nations and seek to undermine Israeli policy. My friends, imagine for a moment that Israel decides to fund a British group advocating Scottish independence, or a Spanish one calling for Catalan state. Would the United Kingdom or Spain be indifferent to, let alone tolerance, such interference? Any nation wishing to contribute to the peace process should bear in mind that peace is the outcome of mutual recognition of sovereignty and the right to live in freedom and security. Peace will be achieved not by the international pressure, but through direct negotiation between the parties in good faith and respect. Make no mistake, Israel's struggle against terrorism did not start in 1967 and will not end with a decision to retreat to 1967 borders. There are nations, organizations, and individuals who are committed to fighting us, not until we give away land, but until we leave this land. And this will never happen. To illustrate, I invite you to read the Hamas Charter. I quote from the preamble. Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it, just as it obliterated others before it. I want to ask each and every one of you, distinguished diplomats, would your government negotiate with a party publicly committed to obliterate your nation? Let me reiterate our firm belief. Israel is not the obstacle to peace. Israel is a democracy committed to progress and innovations. Israel harnesses creativity, science, and technology to bring prosperity to the region and help the world. Israel is committed to equality for all citizens, regardless of religion, nationality, ethnicity, or genders. Israel is a means, not an obstacle of stability. I want also to add, it's not in my speech, but to add one word about the Israeli Arab society. Myself and my party truly believe in the Israeli Arab society. I believe that the majority of the Israeli Arabs want to be part of this Israeli society. And in our ministers, in the education ministers, in my minister, in my office, we invest a lot in the Arab society. And although I think the political leadership of the Israeli Arabs is not brave and not strong enough, I think that the local leadership is. And I believe that together we can strengthen the connection between the Israeli Arabs society and the Israeli Jewish society. Israel is committed to peace. The first step in fight against terrorism is to draw a clear distinction between civilization and the agents of death, between whoever wish to kill and whoever wish to build and to unite. The radical Islamic terrorism is fanatic, so the same way as though terrorists are fanatic, we must be fanatic about our freedom. The world nation should declare a war on terrorism. That's the only way we are going to win. My friend, Sarah Littman announced that her wedding will take place next Thursday. Terror, she said, must not put an end to life and happiness. She would like 1 million guests to celebrate with her. She invites the entire country to come and celebrate with her and her family. I, too, would like to invite every one of you here in this room to celebrate with her on next Thursday. This is the strength of the Israeli people. Thank you very much.